Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl named Snow White. She lived with her stepmother, who was very unkind to her. One day, Snow White's stepmother asked her magic mirror who was the fairest in the land. The mirror replied that Snow White was the fairest of them all. The stepmother was angry and jealous, so she ordered a huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and kill her. The huntsman took Snow White into the forest, but he couldn't bring himself to harm her. Instead, he told her to run away and never come back. Snow White ran until she found a small cottage in the woods. When she went inside, she found that the cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs. They were named Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. The dwarfs welcomed Snow White and let her stay with them. Snow White lived happily with the 7 dwarfs. She cooked and cleaned for them, and they became good friends. However, Snow White's stepmother discovered that she was still alive and decided to take matters into her own hands. The stepmother disguised herself as an old woman and went to the cottage where Snow White was staying. She offered Snow White a poisoned apple, and Snow White took a bite. She fell into a deep sleep, and the dwarfs couldn't wake her up. Eventually, a prince came to the cottage and saw Snow White lying there. He knew he had to save her, so he leaned in and kissed her. The magic of the kiss broke the spell, and Snow White woke up. Snow White and the prince fell in love and got married. They lived happily ever after. As for the stepmother, she was punished for her wickedness and never bothered Snow White again. From then on, Snow White continued to live with the 7 dwarfs and always remembered the kindness they had shown her.